The best day to see with or without lunch. It's still a great place for a Tuesday. Welcome on. We're going to play the last version, the last round of the little game we've been doing all year. Which Rotarian is it anyway? And our guest, the host today is Steve Bresnahan. Steve, who do you have? This one might be a sleeper, folks.
It might be a sleeper.
Okay, here we go. Big prize. We've doubled the prize this time, so they get 2 tickets, right? Okay, Gregory, 2 tickets. First car. Boy, they're paying attention. You know, for 2 tickets. First car, a 1984 Ford Escort. No, it's not. You're all jealous of the car, I can tell.
That'd be somebody else.
Okay. Rotarian has traveled to 2 continents. Okay. Most unusual championship participation was as a champion haystacker.
Better say that again.
A champion haystacker. Hay, come on, smart people. A haystacker. You stack hay. Right? Some people got it. That's complicated. Hey. All right, here we go. Pay attention. Rotarian attended Adele DeSoto's high school in Iowa, where the team nickname was the Tigers. Who? No. Favorite hobby is outdoor activities with her 4 boys. Who? No. I'm running out of questions here. All right, here we go. This will make it easy for you. The current Rotarian's current work position is St. Cloud State Activities Director. Heather Weaver. Heather Weaver.
We told there was a sleeper. We told there was a sleeper. Now I know. Steve, watch out. The crowd's turning on us. It could be that.
What do you mean us?
What do you mean us? Okay, folks, I'd like to stand up and shake hands, meet the people around you. There's many new people, a few new people around to say hello to you. Say hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Steve Toole. Heather Williams, nice to meet you. Hi.
Heather, welcome again.
Hi. Welcome.
Melissa? Mike Mullen. All right.
Hi, John Bestian. Nice to meet you.
What is your work? Oh, all right. Looking for work.
Okay, folks, the 4-way test is on the wall. Of the things we think, say, and do. Is it true?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And while you're standing, Glenn Carlson's going to sing us something.
We are number 27. You better look, 27. Rotary by Rotary. Got her down, I guess.
Rotary by Rotary, my arms now to thee I bring. Rotary by Rotary, with ancient loyalty and cheer, I'll serve all people far and near, and hold thy precepts ever dear. Rotary, my Rotary.
Always in fine voice.
You're not bad.
Number 3, America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Len. I think Mark, you're going to do Mark Henry's going to do the invocation here. Get him on up on this beautiful day.
yes, it is a beautiful day, and of course, it is a Tuesday. Now, I had the opportunity yesterday to take a day off and go spend a day with my young son on the water. And it was one of those things that we often talk about doing, but we don't because we don't take the time. But we chose Monday rather than Tuesdays because, you know, when Tuesdays come around, it's Rotary. Nobody rings a bell. Nobody makes a phone call to remind us. On Tuesday, instinctively we gather because Tuesdays mean Rotary. And we come with different political backgrounds, different religious backgrounds. We work in the corporate world, the private business world, and from nonprofit organizations. We are educators, financial and insurance advisors, and working professionals. Some are retired, while others are just beginning their journey. We gather to visit old friends, and we meet with new friends, because Tuesdays mean Rotary. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, creator of our universe, we ask your blessing on our club and Rotary clubs everywhere. We ask you to bless the work and to keep us vigilant to our motto of service above self. By working together under your guidance, this Rotary Club and Rotary clubs everywhere make a lasting impression on the people in their communities, people throughout our great nation, and communities wherever Rotarians gather to serve. We ask your blessing on this food and for the fellowship that continues to inspire us. And as we approach our nation's independence, we ask a special blessing for the brave men and women who work 24 hours a day in our militaries, our fire departments, and our police departments, protecting our freedoms, yet whose work often goes undernoticed and unappreciated. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, please be seated. Thank you, Mark. All right, we have a few guests here today. Let's start off at the head table with Diane Hageman introducing a couple of her guests.
All right. President Jim, I'm happy to introduce Palmer and Rita Lizzo, who is the Chief Financial Officer for St. Ben's, and Rita is the Provost for St. Ben's at St. John.
At this table over here. Seeing none, in fact, seeing nobody, we'll go back here. Peg.
I have two guests with me today. We have Bonnie and Ara. They're interns, and they're also going to help with Summertime by George Park Fair.
All right. How about this table? I think Glenn Madoon has a guest, don't you?
I guess left St. Cloud State. He was the athletic director 28 years ago, and he went to South Dakota for greener pastures. He's back after 28 years, and he was commissioner of the Central Conference for many years in South Dakota.
Okay.
Don Watkins knows him better than I. He may say that.
Glenn did a great job. Noel and I became friends when he arrived at St. Cloud. He was basketball coach and then athletic director before he went on to be commissioner in Sioux Falls with the Central Athletic Council.
Okay.
We welcome him back to St. Cloud.
All right, welcome. I know Sandy has somebody back there.
I certainly do. President Jim, I'd like to introduce the club, my goddaughter, Jillian Donnerbauer. She is just a recent graduate at St. Cloud State with a Mass Communications and a minor in Public Administration, and she's looking for a job.
Well, there you go. All right. On this table, I'd like to introduce my guest, Melissa Colbjornson. Melissa is also looking for work, as she is working, but she's looking to change career. She has been home, but she used to run floors at the IDS Center and operate that. And she and her husband now have quarter-ton film and video production here in the St. Cloud area. So, my guest, Melissa. You all look familiar. Strangely familiar. Strangely familiar. Okay. Let's have the drawing for the loot. Oh, first we have to thank Greg. Greg Chase back there for being our greeter. Greg, let's give him a round of applause. Greg has drawn a number.
Wait, first, President Jim, we also have a guest Rotarian from the rainy state of Florida, Warren Teagan.
Oh, is Warren here? Oh, there he is. Your yellow shirt matched his long hair. I couldn't see you, Warren.
That's okay.
All right, do we have a winning number?
Yes, the ticket number, the last three numbers are 499.
Oh, I'm 501. Who's got it? Gary Marsden.
No, 498.
498. Who's got 499? Come on, the early one. I know.
Glenn has it. Glenn's got it.
Glenn does he have it?
Glenn's got it.
All right, let's just do it. This is money. You wouldn't think it'd be that much trouble getting away the loot, but there you are. Okay, we have a few announcements. Can you believe that Diane Crosscup probably has something to say about Summertime by George? What could you possibly have to say? Come on up.
Hopefully, last week was our only rain out of the year. Tomorrow, just a few things. The band is Killer Hayseeds tomorrow night. Our sponsor is Bremer Bank. The weather is predicted at 91 degrees. Nice breeze, 5 to 10 miles an hour, low humidity, 63%. So, between the good weather we're going to have, the awesome band that's going to be playing, and the Can-Am games in town, it is going to be packed tomorrow night. Absolutely packed. Biggest crowd ever, I'm predicting. So a couple things to remember, especially with the heat. The water is free for all of you guys. Okay, so make sure you keep yourself hydrated. And if you're working in the water area, or the pop stand area, make sure you keep lots of water on ice for everyone, not just our workers, but we seem to sell quite a bit more. Also watch your cash boxes when we have those big crowds. That's good opportunity for people to pounce. So, like if you're working the pop stand, one of you can be getting the pop and water, one stays with the cash box at all times. Just turning around to gather a water, somebody can take that cash box really quick.
Even a fundraiser could get it.
Yeah. Even with those crowds, they could get. Yeah, so just make sure you watch them. And then just the last thing, we are going to be very busy tomorrow night. I know it's going to be a packed house, so make sure that you, if you're scheduled, that you make it, and if you are not able to fulfill your spot, that you find somebody to take your place, because we will need everyone there tomorrow. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for all that work. And Drew Holtred wants to talk about, what could it be?
Raffle tickets again. I think just about everybody in this room has already picked up your raffle tickets, but if you've not, I'll be back at the table there handing them out. We just have a few people who haven't picked up their envelopes, their raffle tickets yet. How are the sales going? Is anybody willing to share if they've sold at least 5 of their own tickets yet? Anybody? All right. How about more than 10 of your own? All right. How about more than 20? Anybody sold more than 20 tickets yet?
Sandy.
That's great. Well, we have more tickets, so keep it going. Remember, this year we have doubled the cash incentive for whoever sells the most tickets. So it's the $200 cash prize. And as Gary will attest, we will get the cash to you eventually. Took a little bit longer this time, but the money will get to you. And so, Diane, yes. Oh, yeah. On your tables, you'll also see there are some posters regarding the raffle. Please take as many of those as you want and put them up around your place of work or any place else to be able to bring people in. And then just one last thing, there was a little bit of change from last year. We are allowing people to sell your personal tickets at the event. So if you're going tomorrow night, even if you're not volunteering or you're not volunteering in the booth, stick your tickets in your pocket. That's hard to say. Put your tickets in your pocket, and you can sell your tickets there. We only ask that when you're actually in or around the booth itself, don't sell your own personal tickets, because we also do need to sell the other club tickets. So otherwise, keep it going. It's a great cause. It's for the foundation. So thanks for your efforts.
All right, thank you, Drew. Mike Mullen would to make an announcement.
Thank you, President Jim. There are about 50 of us going to the game on Thursday night, and I have a couple extra tickets. They're paid for. Somebody that was going to go is now unable. So if you want to be a last-minute addition to that game, just see me during the meeting or after the meeting, or give me a holler. And then we've discovered we only have about a 25% open rate when it comes to email messages. Now, some might have a natural and understandable aversion about the sender, but I think in getting the word out, I suppose there's no perfect way to do this, and we hate to hammer people over the head week after week after week. But this is just a little bit of a opinion poll or a little survey to see whether there might be interest. If someone were to say to you, Von Reimer, does anybody know who Von Reimer is? Guy from the Netherlands in the mid-17th century, somewhat famous. Who?
You were a kid when he was around.
Yeah.
Bill Ainsley.
Well, most of us know him by his first name, Rembrandt. Rembrandt von Reimer. In those days, they went by their first name. But down at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, as you probably know, they have assembled the largest collection of Rembrandt paintings, etchings, drawings ever in the same place at the same time in the United States. And so that's going on right now, and I wondered whether there would be anybody in Rotary interested in getting on a bus, going to see that exhibition, and then maybe go on to a nice place to have dinner. And this is non-binding, but I have to know whether or not to put more than a minute and a half of work into it, as to whether or not there'd be, obviously it's date sensitive and all of that, but is that something that would interest you in the least? Okay, there might be enough where we would give an attempt at it. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. Kendall come in, so I will make a quick announcement that the Can-Am games are on, and two, you're volunteering. I think Drew has a little more information that we just got in the mail. And also tomorrow afternoon, we are the sponsors of the chili cook-off downtown. 90 degrees, I'm not sure what'll be hotter, the chili or the weather, but we'll see. And Troy Fritz. Troy has a Paul Harris pin to give on, I believe. Troy.
Pictures. Well, as you know, as members are able to join us, we'd like to recognize them with our Paul Harris Fellows. And we have 3 left to give out, and one of those individuals is here today. Mr. Mahold, would you please come up here to receive your Paul Harris Fellow Plus 3. Congratulations.
I ought to show up more often.
All right, thank you, Troy. All right, very good. That thought occurred that you're good, but we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Troy, and thank you to all who helped with the Rotary Foundation and the work that is done around the world in the name of Rotary and with our resources. Okay, let's go on here a little bit. I'm going to take a couple minutes, because last week I was thanking and saying goodbye, and we had kind of an early change of it, but I have a couple of people who did not get a chance to at least get recognized by everyone here, and some of them are up here today. So I'm going to call a few of you up and ask you to just stand up for a second so people can acknowledge the work that you did the last year to help our club go ahead. And taking a look down my list, I have a couple of people that I see, but one is Justin. You weren't here last week? Come on up, Justin Wampak, for his Kids Against Hunger participation and his work with the Board of Directors. But let's just get him up here for a second. And hold on just a second. That Andrew Style, I saw Andrew here. Andrew has been one of these, has one of the positions in the club that's so enviable, in that he has to provide the greeter and the invocator and other pieces each week as a member of it. It's a hard job, and he's done it well. I'm going to bring up a couple more here. Janelle isn't here. Diane Marcotte is here. Diane is the chair of our governance committee. I believe President is here, the chair of the governance committee, which oversees the work that happens by the leadership. Oh, is Marsden the chair? Oh. I thought you were the chair that he had. Ex officio. Well, when do you come up here? I don't know. Steve Jewell wasn't here last week.
It was a close working relationship.
Steve Jewell is on our board, and the president, come on.
I was here last week.
Oh, you were here. Oh, I can't remember who was here. Julie's there. Dave Hogan and Craig Ruck were not able to be, and David Tripp. If you guys will all come up, come up for a minute. That's what I have here. David, yep. These are on the board of directors and have helped in various ways. And rather than give you a piece of paper or a plaque, I just made up my own bottle of wine with the label and the Rotary above. Self symbol. It's a Chardonnay Sauvignon. I made it.
Now he's up there.
Martha knows what it's called.
See, that'll teach you, Diane.
So, let's see. Yeah. All right, so I think that's it. So let's give them a round of applause and thank you. Okay, sir. Now, let's see. We're doing pretty well for time. We're catching up. We've got a couple of minutes. If anybody has any this is my last go-around, and I'm going to throw a $20 bill in for happiness because it's just been great fun to work with this club, to see all of you, and enjoy the time. I've enjoyed my presidency very much. It's just plain been an enjoyable, fun time. It's a lot of work and a lot of time outside of the club. But you have all been great people to work with, and I'm happy for it. With the possible exception of Bill Maney, who was a great person, but, you know, no.
I do have a question.
What?
Is it only worth $20?
It's only worth $20. Well, that's how many meetings I made extra this month. We can do more on my birthday, trust me. All right, who else has got a happy dollar? Nobody's happy. Come on up, Sandy. Come on up, anybody. Don't stand in line because Dr. Manager didn't come here to watch us do all this.
I have to luck for my goddaughter Julie to be here today for lunch, and good luck with her job search.
All right. All right. That's Carlson.
I don't have a club, I have to have an IOU, but I want to recognize Rita Kniesel. She was a sax teacher for my son, but she was also a Rotary
Recipient of the fellowship?
Fellowship, yes. So.
And I'm so grateful to this organization, so it gives me an opportunity to thank you.
The very
once
first.
again.
Yeah. Very first. Yeah, first one.
All right. Nobody else is happy. What a bunch of crabs. Come on, we've got some bucks I want to do.
Oh, I know.
Come on. Come on, John.
My daughter works for Joanne Fabrics, and she's been working in the store in Edina and has been driving about an hour each way. She just got a job running another store in Shakopee, which is only 5 minutes away. What a deal.
I've been to about 30 club changings of the guard, so I still think of myself as a new Rotarian. But last week, to the best of my memory, last week was the very first time, and it was because it was a little bit out of order. I think we were all out of sync. They did the changing of the guard on the wrong day. None of us are still trying to figure that out. And we got confused in a whole variety of ways. But I think it's true that it's the very first time in the club's history that there wasn't a spontaneous standing ovation for appreciating the outgoing president. So I invite that at this time.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, hearing no other money coming forward, I now turn over the introduction to John Badette, who's going to turn it over to Diane Hageman. Diane Hageman, come on up.
Well done. I think it was the very first time, and everybody just kind of sat.
Well, it's certainly been a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Marianne Menninger, president of the College of St. Benedict. Marianne is entering her 9th year as president of the college, and I've had the pleasure of working with her almost 5 of those years. She's devoted nearly her entire career to higher education. Marianne is committed to providing an academically rich, socially engaging, and safe environment for CSB and SJU students. During her tenure as CSB president, Marianne has expanded CSB and SJU's nationally recognized study abroad program and consistently supported low student-to-faculty ratio. ensuring that all students benefit from individual attention and faculty mentoring. President Benninger hails from Philadelphia, sorry for that little hiccup there, and earned a PhD in developmental cognitive psychology at Temple University, where she has also completed her BA in psychology. Prior to leading St. Ben's, Marianne was senior staff member at the Middle States Commission on Higher Education in Philadelphia. She also served as president in the Department of Psychology at the College of New Jersey, Washington College, and Philadelphia College, where she enjoyed teaching and mentoring students. I can personally say, at least from my vantage point, that there is never a dull moment at St. Ben's. Under Marianne's leadership, there have been a number of construction projects, including the expansion of the Benedicta Art Center and the opening of the Gretzky Dining and Conference Center, which I have heard John Baudet refer to as the Taj Mahal of college dining. And as you will see today, the addition of Centennial Commons, townhome-style student housing. She'll also give us an update, a glimpse of our exciting plans for the future. Marianne doesn't live her entire life at the college. She, in fact, is the mother of 2 adult children and 4 grandchildren. She lives in St. Joseph with her husband, Ron, and their standard poodle, Lindsay. And I introduce you, Marianne.
Thank you very much, Diane. Good afternoon, President Jim and members of St. Cloud Rotary. I've been trying to figure out why Jim invited me here, and I finally realized it's just so he could hear me calling President Jim. It's a pleasure to join you at your meeting today, and I thank you for this invitation to speak with you. I'd also like to thank Diane Hageman, who has really become a right-hand person for me. Diane is an absolute delight to work with, and as you know, she regularly represents College of St. Benedict here with Rotary, and she keeps me informed of your work in the central Minnesota community. I can't believe that the last time I spoke with this group was in 2004, just slightly after I arrived at St. Ben's, and since that time, I've acquired I've acquired a daughter-in-law. One of my children got married. I've acquired 4 grandchildren. I have 1 less dog because sadly he died a couple of weeks ago. But I think the fundamental thing that has changed in my life and my husband's life is the transfer of our sense of home to St. Joe in the St. Cloud area. And in fact, this is a little bit of a sad story if you're pet people, but our dog was dying on our drive back here a few weeks ago from the East Coast. And it was funny because that kind of made us realize that this is home, because we kept saying we have to get him home. And it meant, you know, to his vet here in St. Cloud. So this is now home for us, and we love being here, and we appreciate the welcome that we continue to have here. This is an interesting time to be a college president. There are so many opportunities and challenges, and I'm very grateful to be at St. Ben's, a place that is a very solid place and makes those opportunities and challenges, the challenges a little bit easier and the opportunities a bit more exciting. And it's especially wonderful to be here in the midst of this community, and a community that includes all of you in your various businesses and nonprofit organizations who really all support each other. It's pretty hard to talk about St. Ben's without talking about St. John's, as some of you know. So I'll talk about both institutions to a degree. And I know that you've heard from the heads of both the Miniscu system and the University of Minnesota. And I think between the 3 of us, it'll help you get a picture, an overall picture of higher education, because we're all very different, and there's an important need for each of these kinds of institutions. So first, some quick facts about both St. Ben's and St. John's. Together, St. Ben's and St. John's are the largest liberal arts college in the country. A prevailing myth is that St. John's is bigger than St. Ben's, but St. Ben's has been a little bit bigger than St. John's for a long time. Together, we have about 3,900 students. We're what you call a national liberal arts college, and I'll unpack that a bit in a minute. But what's special about us is that we have a college for women and a college for men. And that's unique in the country. It doesn't work like that anywhere else. We have a joint academic program led by Rita Knasel here, who is a St. Cloud girl and a St. Ben's student and a St. Ben's faculty member and a dean. And she's really been with these institutions all of her life. And then we have separate residential programs, which are still very important for college-age kids in this day and age, to have that opportunity to be just with women or just with men. Now, as you might imagine, you can go into the residence halls pretty much any time of day and you can find someone of the opposite sex, but the idea is if you want that space for yourself, you can have it for yourself, and you can grow as a woman and grow as a man. We're both top 100 national institutions. Well, what does that whole thing, national institution, mean? It really means that we draw our students from all over the country and all over the world. It doesn't mean that we don't draw them from here in central Minnesota and greater Minnesota area. Those students still make up about 75% of our student body. But they're at an institution that is competing for other students nationally. And that's great for our local students because it puts them in contact with students from all over the country and all over the world. And it gives them an opportunity to attend a nationally ranked institution. So we focus a lot on our key strengths. And for us, if we really whittle down to what we do best at St. Ben's and St. John's, we would, of course, say our liberal arts and sciences education. And I put that at the bottom of the list because that, to kind of demonstrate that it's a foundation for other things. But we're particularly strong in international education and experiential education. So let's start a little bit by putting us into perspective internationally. We just won something called the Paul Simon Award, the Senator Paul Simon Award, a few weeks ago, and that'll be announced in November. And this award recognizes institutions that are comprehensively international. So if you come to St. Ben's and St. John's, it would be hard for you to leave in a day and not find evidence of our international nature. We have the largest number of international students in the state of Minnesota and 12th in the country at undergraduate institutions. So there's a profound sense of students coming from all over the world. We're first in the number of students for our type of institution, an undergraduate liberal arts institution, in the number of students we send abroad. And we do it with our own faculty at our own location in 17 sites. We have 250 international students on our campus from 40 countries. And our graduates live and work all over the world. So when we travel with St. Ben's and St. John's, pretty much anywhere we go, we find this sense of home and this sense of connection when we visit our students. Recently, we made two important changes in our curriculum to reflect this international character. One is that we've taken our whole entire undergraduate business offering, which would have been, our business department, our management major, and we've given it a global focus because most of our students are eager to translate what they know about business and what they know about business in the state and here in central Minnesota and translate that to a global perspective, whether they stay and work in this country or whether they work for a multinational corporation. So it's exciting to see the students driving these initiatives. And we've opened a Center for Global Education, which is really the umbrella that kind of keeps in focus all of these international activities. But something I'm particularly proud of is what we call experiential education. As I'm sure that President Kaler and Chancellor Rosenstone talked about, students really aren't just in the classroom anymore. That provides a key aspect of their education, but it's really all about getting out there and doing and making what you're doing in the real world connect to what you're learning in the classroom. So we have a very robust experiential education program. Every single student at St. Ben's and St. John's is required to have at least a semester engaging directly in the community, either in a nonprofit site or a business or engaging internationally on study abroad. And so we have an umbrella organization that's a center that, just like international education, really takes care of all of that. And this service is a particular strength at St. Ben's. Now, women tend to be engaged more in service than men, which explains this difference between St. Ben's and St. John's, but we've been recognized nationally with distinction by the United States President for our community service. We have a program called the Jackson Fellows Program that serves St. Ben's and St. John's that pays students in the summer a fellowship to engage directly in the community. And many of those students work here in St. Cloud, particularly at nonprofit organizations, and they also work in the public sector, working for legislators as interns and national senators as interns and Congress people as well. In the 2010-2011 academic year, what you see up on the screen is the number of hours our students devoted to community service in the St. Cloud area broadly and to internships in the St. Cloud area. As arts and sciences institution, and I use that instead of using the word liberal arts, because I think people sometimes, in this day and age, that liberal has gotten a political valence, but what liberal really means in this case is that you're free to explore all kinds of educational opportunities. And the words we use now are arts and sciences education. And this kind of education, as I'm sure you're aware, is the education that provides the underpinning for all professional education. So can students really think? Can they really carry on a good rhetorical argument? Do they write well? Are they ethically competent? Do they think about ethical considerations when they make decisions? Do they lead ethically? The Rotary four-way test is a very good distillation of the kinds of things that we're trying to teach them at St. Ben's and St. John's about all they do. So our basic identity is as a liberal arts and sciences institution. But another thing that's special about us, and for me has become really the core of what I understand about this institution, I come from a Catholic background, as you might expect, but I don't come from a Benedictine background. There aren't as many Benedictines on the East Coast, even though that's where they came from when they first came to the United States. So it's been a particular gift and pleasure for me to be at a Benedictine institution, and the Benedictine values really infuse every single thing that we do and that our students do. And by the time they graduate from St. Ben's and St. John's, they have this in their heart. And these kinds of values are values that are coincident with our values in central Minnesota. So when you think about Rotary, one of the things that comes to mind is stability. That constancy in your life that you are here once a week, or you are at Rotary wherever you are in the world. Those are the stability itself is a Benedictine value. And so we teach our students these things: listening, stewardship. So when something like let's build LEED certified buildings or let's become more environmentally conscious is buzzwords at other institutions, for our institution that's bread and the bone of what we do. So we don't have to teach our students about being good stewards of what they have or being good stewards of the community. St. Ben's and St. John's in the workforce, of course, emanates from the degrees that we grant at our institutions. We have some 37 majors and 60 concentrations. And that's a large number for a liberal arts college because we don't offer many direct programs that translate directly into a career. We offer programs that provide students a foundation for their lives. Women and men are majoring different things, and I could talk with you for hours and hours and hours about this issue, but these are our top 10 degrees granted for a 3-year running period of time. And so as you can see, women are still majoring in those kinds of disciplines that are about relationships to a degree, and men are majoring in the disciplines that are about corporate structure. And we're trying to break down those barriers a bit for both our men and our women. The natural sciences are very high in the category of what women are majoring in as well. After graduation, despite the fact that we don't train our students directly to a career, their unemployment rate, or rather their employment rate, is exceedingly high. So about 70% of our students leave on the date of graduation with a commitment to go into the workforce. And for the last 3 years running, 99% of our students have been gainfully, let's say, situated, with all of those except 1% choosing to go directly into the workforce actually getting a job. So our unemployment rate among our alums is effectively 1%. About 20% of our alums go directly to grad school, and about 10% of our alums go into service all over the world. At St. Ben's in the class of 2010, 16%, or between 1/6 and 1/5 of all our alums are working right here in St. Cloud. And that represents more students than came from St. Cloud when they went to St. Ben's. So despite the fact that we're a so-called national institution, one of the things we do is we draw students to this part of the world and we keep them here, and they become very strong members of the community and stay in this area. Our top employers nationally are right here, and our students are employed at hundreds of different locations. So you shouldn't get the wrong idea that there are huge numbers of alums at each of these places. But for St. Ben's, St. Cloud Hospital is the third highest employer, and that's largely for nurses and also for physicians, but workers in the business and the finance arena as well. But to reflect our students' national presence, Southwest University in Sichuan Province in China, outside Chongqing, is our fifth highest employer. Now, they don't tend to stay there for the rest of their lives, but they do go and they work there for a few years. About 2,600, 2,700 of our alums live in the region, and the fields that they're involved in are as you would expect. And this is for St. Ben's students in education, in healthcare, in business, and law, and then in the corporate world, primarily in sales. I'm going to switch over a little bit and talk about St. Ben's as an organization. And up here is our vision. What people ask me, is St. Ben's changing? Is St. Ben's getting bigger? What's going to happen with St. Ben's, as higher education is changing in the United States? And what I say is that St. Ben's really wants to maintain the values that it was founded with, and it wants to use them to adapt to the 21st century and beyond. So we envision our future as grounded in the same values, the same principles, the same commitments that the sisters brought to central Minnesota. But we see ourselves as using those values as a way to respond to the 21st century, to technology, to change, to all of the things that our graduates have to cope with. So here we are, 100 years into our history. The sisters separated the corporation of the college 50 years ago. So the college has been on its own in partnership with the sisters for the second half of its first 100 years. And I encourage you to go to the St. Ben's campus and the Sisters Museum right now. They have an exhibit that is about the first 50 years of the college. And it's really about the first 50 years of Stearns County in central Minnesota. It's just going on its own. So today, we're a top 100 institution. We're ranked first in study abroad nationally. We're the top-ranked Catholic college for women in the country, and we're the only Benedictine college for women left in the country, and the only Benedictine college that has a female president. So that's a little bit of a heavy-duty responsibility. We've made an enormous amount of progress, but we're looking forward to our second century. So a lot of what we're doing right now is planning on how to sustain ourselves in the future and how to celebrate. And when we do that, we look to the history of the Sisters of the Order of St. Benedict. And when we distill what their attributes were, they were dynamically responsive to change, but they always stop and critically self-assess. This is why the sisters gave the hospitals to the community. It's why they separated the incorporation of the college, because they're always looking at what they produce and how it's going to be sustained in the future. And they had bold ideas and big dreams. I mean, some of the things that they did when they arrived here and through the first half of their time here were just absolutely crazy. If you looked at it and you knew it in advance that they were going to do it, you would say, absolutely no way, this isn't going to happen. But they did it. Oh, thanks, Diane. I guess I'm clearly not talking fast enough for that. So, okay, you can go to the next one. So what we're doing is looking at the future, and we have many challenges and we have many opportunities. You can go to the next one. One of the things that we struggle with, and this is both good news and challenging news, 91% of our students receive scholarships, and about 70% of our students receive need-based scholarships. So the economic picture of St. Ben's students hasn't changed that much since its inception. We have very large numbers of first-generation students, and we have very large numbers of students who have need. What's different is what those students' racial and ethnic backgrounds are. And we are a much more diverse institution, which you can't tell by this picture, poor choice, because this picture represents a group of students who happen to be in front of the picture. But if you looked at the racial and ethnic makeup of our students these days, you would see about 20% of our students are students of color, either U.S. national students of color or international students of color. And 70% of our students have fundamental need. So one of the things, you can go on to the next one, Kate. So one of the things, of course, that we're trying to do is ensure access and opportunity for our students over the next 100 years. To continue to invest in academic excellence, because you hear all this stuff on the news about online courses that are going to serve 10 or 20 or 30,000 students. That's not what we're about. We're about 12 students per faculty member. And the neediest students benefit from that most. And of course we need the space to do this. You can go on to the next slide. Right now, we're in the process of building a residence hall that we hope and expect will last for the next 100 years. It's being built with local general contractor, local subs, really pretty much as many materials as we could get from the state of Minnesota. When it's finished, it'll be a LEED Platinum facility, so it's extremely energy efficient, and it's built to be welcoming to the community. You can go to the next one, Diane. We're also building a gateway academic building when we raise the funds. The residence halls are under construction right now, and I invite you to come and look at those. But we'll build a gateway academic building, again, being built for the next 100 years. And that has become the theme of our centennial, to say, we will do whatever we do right now to last for 100 years. You can go to the next one. So we're celebrating St. Ben's 100th anniversary from 2013 to 2014. We'll start the last graduating class of the first century, and we'll celebrate for a year until the first graduating class of the second century. The celebration is going to be about inviting the community in. We won't bother you with this too far in advance, but when it gets time to start putting things on your calendar, you'll be hearing a lot about this. Almost all of our events are about bringing the community in. So I hope that we'll see you there. We have an all-school reunion coming up next year, so we're inviting back our 20,000 alums. We don't expect to get 20,000, so it's not going to be like the, what are they called, the Can-Am games? It's not going to be quite like that, but we expect about 3,000 or 4,000 to come back. We're focusing very much at this point in our history on our connection with the local community. We're doing that in all sorts of ways. But one is to try to direct our fine arts programming in a way that it can bring more people into the St. Ben's and St. John's campus. So one of the things I do is invite you, you can go to the next one, invite you on Thursday to our Sunset Stages, which are free. They've been scheduled to be after the Summertime by George concert so that they never conflict. People can get 2 days of outdoor music, and last week that worked really well because Monroe Crossing was at St. Ben's, and people who couldn't hear them rained out, got to hear them at St. Ben's. We don't know how many people we had, but it was a crazy huge number. So please come to those summertime events. They're fun. There's an open bar. I mean, it's a cash bar, but you can get anything you want to drink, and you can come early, you can park your chair, bring a picnic dinner, and enjoy the music. Lastly, we're looking forward to a new president at St. John's on July 1st, and surprisingly to me and unexpectedly to me, and it never occurred to me that I would be welcoming my 4th presidential colleague at St. John's. I thought I'd be long gone before there was ever a new president at St. John's. He's a wonderful guy. He's a St. John's alum. He's currently a Carleton professor. He'll be here in August, and I'll do my best to get him connected to the local community, and I'm sure that he'll be someone that you very much want to get to know. So I'm delighted for that new partnership, and I'm thrilled and pleased to be here today. And I think we have just a couple of minutes for questions, so I'm more than happy to answer any. Thank you. Yes.
how do you see that escalating on a go-forward basis to make this more affordable? I mean, 91% on some form of scholarship is staggering.
Yeah, this is a really good question, and it's the question of the hour, the day, and the year. The tuition at St. Ben's right now is $34,000, and room and board is just shy of $9,000. So together, you're looking at a $45,000 cost to educate a student. The average scholarship is 53.1% of that tuition cost. So a student on average pays somewhere in the arena of $17,000 tuition. That ranges from paying $34,000 tuition to paying absolutely nothing. So we know that it is as affordable as going to the University of Minnesota, for example, for students who are the poorest. The model, the way that higher education is financed, frankly, is an extreme challenge because, as you probably know, we get no subsidies from anyone. So it's only tuition through which we have to run the institution. St. Ben's has a very small endowment, and in fact, St. John's has a small endowment as well, even though it's significantly larger than St. Ben's. So we do this through gifts and grants when we can, and we try to keep our costs as low as possible. With that very high tuition, you'd be surprised to know that St. Ben's tuition is significantly below the average for our peer institutions. So yes, I mean, one of the things that we're working on in our campaign, $125 million campaign that we're starting in the silent phase now, of course, is building that endowment to help pay for these scholarships for students. Yes?
I was just going to say real quick, my wife graduated from St. Catherine's, and it's also very unique where it's a collection generally of gals. How does that compare to St. Ben's?
Well, St. Kate's and St. Ben's started out historically on a very similar trajectory. And today, happily, we're very different institutions, which is a great thing because we don't compete much with each other. St. Kate's is, it started as a classic liberal arts institution. Now it grants many more of its degrees in career-oriented fields. And it serves a population that is an urban population that is much more, even more so ethnically and culturally diverse than St. Ben's, and it offers many graduate programs. St. Ben's is a classic liberal arts institution. 70% of our students are getting their degrees granted in the liberal arts. And as you can see, they still get jobs, but they don't necessarily know what job they're going to get when they graduate. Whereas Katie's, these days, more often are going for a particular career trajectory. And again, happily we can coexist. Many St. Ben's alums go to St. Kate's for graduate programs as well. St. Ben's is a so-called national institution, so when we get ranked, and this is true of St. John's too, when we get ranked, we're competing for our rankings with national institutions. St. Kate's is a regional institution. It's competing for rankings regionally. So, this is what's wonderful about higher education, particularly in the state of Minnesota, is we have very good but very different and heterogeneous kinds of institutions. Yes?
The Venerable Brown University out in Providence, Rhode Island, was granted by the colonial legislature. As you
perhaps, is this a history question? Because if it is, I'm probably going to...
Not really,
okay.
But I can't help myself. I have to give that foundation. So it's a weak question from that. But they were granted this forever and ever and ever, as long as the grass and green. They would never have to pay any taxes or municipal fees, etc., to the city of Providence. Well, lo and behold, 300 years go by. Brown is huge, Providence is millions of dollars in debt, and all of a sudden Brown University is paying millions of dollars to the city of Providence. And what I'm wondering, as College of St. Benedict enjoys health, strength, prosperity, growth, do you see a day when, with the city of St. Joseph, College of St. Benedict may well find itself in a similar position or has that ever been thought about?
I'm avoiding looking at my chief financial officer who's sitting here to my right because she's probably just saying, "Oh, I knew that question would come up." Now, we are a nonprofit organization and we derive 85% of our income from students' tuition. I have to give a preamble to this so people understand the full picture. And the remaining small portion of our income comes from draw on our endowment, and it comes from money that we raise from our donors. So we are accruing zero profit at the end of each year. We spend down everything we bring in, all on the education. So we enjoy 501c3 nonprofit status, which is what exempts us from paying taxes. It's not like Brown. We haven't signed something like that. It's just the virtue of our status that exempts us from that. Now, what we've tried to do in St. Joe is we pay a voluntary contribution to the city every year. As you probably know, if you read the papers, we pay what has been discussed or disputed over many years, and it's finally, thank God, settled. We pay a significant portion of infrastructure costs in the city relative to our size. We provide 500 jobs, and together with St. John's, we provide 1,000 jobs. And what we have done recently is when we build or we purchase certain facilities, we will make every effort to put those within the tax base. So we purchased lofts on top of the Millstream apartments. We pay real estate taxes on those like everyone else. We're operating a retail establishment in St. Joe called On a Lark. We pay taxes on that. If I'm accurate, Sue, we pay taxes on the residence I live in. We don't? Okay, I'm not accurate. I'm glad I asked that because I was afraid of that question. So I don't know. So that falls under the 501c3 status. So what we're trying to do is make these voluntary contributions in lieu of taxes, but we also are hoping that St. Joe continues to recognize that without the college and the monastery, that its commercial base would just be lost, and the real estate taxes that are paid by the people that work, their own real estate taxes that are paid by the people that work in St. Joe by virtue of working at St. Ben's or St. Joe.
One short last question.
It's actually not a question, but a comment in response to Gary's question. I went to St. John's in the early 70s. My senior year tuition was about $3,000, which was the price of a nice car. $34,000 is the price of a nice car. The difference is, when I was at St. John's, I could go out and get a job in the summer and I could earn about 40 to 50% of my tuition. The economics in the bigger world were very different, which was really of a benefit to me. That's not possible today, and then when you put in maybe this economic situation that the students are coming out of and some other things, it's just a whole different set of dynamics. But as I often look at the cost of liberal arts college, St. John's and St. Ben's, purely in terms of what does other similar stuff cost over that period of time, hasn't really changed that much. It's just that ability to get your own money to go that has been the real challenge.
That's a completely accurate analysis. And then, of course, students have heavy student loan debt, which is what fills in the gap between what they can earn in the summer and what they cost. Now, in that student loan debt picture, I know that if you watch the news, you hear things like, well, student debt has exceeded credit card debt. And when I hear that, I kind of scratch my head, and I'm like, so it would be good if we had more debt on our credit cards than we had to pay for our education? So I think some of the rhetorical conversations around this need to be switched around. St. Ben's and St. John's have essentially 0% default rate on their student loans. It has inched up to like 0.4% during the depth of the recession. St. Ben's is the institution in the country out of 4,700 institutions with the lowest cohort default rate. That says something about a women's college, a Catholic college, a Central Minnesota college. But what we know about our students is the economic model is sustainable for them, but it's on the very edge, and we don't know where it's going to go. So thank you for that observation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bender. And as you can see, my wife says that, Benny says that she thinks Dr. Bender is one of the greatest things to happen at St. Ben's So we're very happy to have you here and speak to it today. And Dr. Michael Hempstead will be speaking later in the fall also. So at this point, I think I'm getting near done, but let's check John Bodette. What do we have on deck for Drew's meeting?
Drew starts off with the Rotary Foundation update, and then also has an update on heroin and other drug problems in our community. It's a crackdown on crime and new administration. We do have a couple of others that we scheduled. One thing I want you to know is on August 7th, we'll do our St. Benedict Center picnic, which we do each year. We go over and serve lunch to the residents over there. It's always a good time. We also have a couple of new programs. On August 14th, the new United Way CEO, Patrick Powell, will speak to the group. And then on September 25th, we have Bishop John Kinney, who is announcing his retirement, and then maybe the next year he'll actually be able to retire. Maybe. But he's going to come on the 25th of September and talk about his reflections of being a bishop. And I think he's the longest serving bishop in the United States.
Currently, he is the longest active serving bishop, I believe, in North America. Having been a bishop for like 35 years.
So as you can see, he made the qualifications to speak to Rotary,
yeah.
so that's
There you go.
We waited.
All right, good. And just a quick thing, did I see you hand off that bottle to Diane Marcotte? You were so kind that you don't get away that easy. I have another one. So let me send it over to you before you go. Drew, come on up for a second. And with this, we're going to let you hang your banner over the front.
all right.
Just like you.
All right, join in welcoming, and Drew, as he comes in, and ring the bell out of here.